morning. I'm Deb Jenkins, aka Miss Boehner from the Law School days. I had the privilege of being Merle's science teacher for a couple of years, as well as her neighbor. She kept dumping stray cats into my yard across the fence, hoping that I would adopt them, which I think we usually did. This morning, I'm honored to read a letter written by Jill Keela Reimer to Merle. To me, Jill was the little girl, the little blonde girl sitting in the third row, second seat in my science class, and she always very politely listened as I droned on about the complexities of photosynthesis. But to Merle, Jill was affectionately nicknamed Billy, and she was her best friend for much of her life. Merle asked Billy if she would write her eulogy several weeks ago. Thankfully, she did. She was able to read her final tribute to Merle just an hour before she passed. Merle asked me if I would read the eulogy today because she said, I need somebody who can read it who's not going to cry. Well, dear Merle, I will try to do my best for you today. The letter begins, April 18, 2025. Dear Merle, I begin this letter the same way I have begun 100 letters to you before. And I know this because last month when I visited you, you gave me all 400 of those letters. But this letter is different. It's not to ramble about the adventures I've had in some far-flung place, or some passing remarks about things you shared in your letters to me, or platitudinous Bible verses stretched like saran wrap to fit the situation. This letter is a celebration of you and of your life. Merle, you are so close to the finish line. You are so close to hearing those amazing words that will be spoken by our loving Father. Well done, good and faithful Merle. You are so close to being fully encircled in the loving arms of God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And we who have known you for your whole life, and we who have known you only a short time, are gathered today in sorrow and anticipation. But we also have great joy. So many friends have, in recent days, shared hilarious stories about you. Like, do you remember the time that you were standing on the wall by the fire pool in your birthday suit, waving to passing cars? Do you remember punching a hole in the dorm room wall so that you could talk to your friend next door after the lights out? And so many friends have shared how deeply you have inspired and encouraged us with your wisdom, burned from hard places and from your big, big heart. You have a beautiful way of gently moving your friends from anger or despair into rational optimism. What a privilege to know you, Merle. Each of your friends has their own stories of you, and together we are richer for knowing our collective stories about you. And of course, richest of all, because you have befriended and loved each one of us and have given us these stories to tell. Farley Mowat wrote a book called And No Birds Sang. It recounts his military service in the UK and Italy during World War II. The title refers to the awful and tremendous silence that came after an extended, frenzied, cacophonic battle. As you, Merle, cross the threshold of this life into the next life, it is this same silence that is ringing in our ears, because your voice is still and you are physically gone from us. For as one friend wrote, some friends slip out of our lives quietly, but not Merle. Her leaving the Law School was like a huge crater in the middle of the road. So many people have written about the things they appreciate about you, Merle. The list is long, but let me share a few of these. First, they appreciate your very keen memory for everything. For childhood silliness, for political events, for friendship events, for concerts, for books read, for Crimson Tide football games. It's hard for you to read, I'm sure. And classes you have taught decades ago. Second, they appreciate your wicked sense of humor, that you turned on yourself as often as not. Like when at our last visit you talked about their short shelf life. Once, when I was visiting you in St. Louis, we had gone out for a walk in your wheelchairs. You were in the electric one, and I was in the manual one. We were going up a bit of a hill, and you had whizzed ahead while I was struggling to get up the incline. An elderly woman passed by and asked if I needed help. No, I said, and I stood up and wheeled the chair to the top of the hill. You were sitting there, waving your arms and shouting, "It's a miracle! It's a miracle!" And I think that poor lady still is not recovering. Third, we appreciate your mischievousness with that flaming red hair and that Cheshire cat grin. One friend remembered. She was there during our at-recess adventures in 1st through 5th grades. We used to turn the old teeter-totter into a launching pad. We would put the smallest kids on one end, and then 2 big kids would jump out of a tree and catapult the little ones. Another friend remembered we climbed the rambutan tree by the fire pool and threw rotten rambutans at passing cars. Of course, this was instigated by Morley. And much more recently, you reminded me that sometimes you took full advantage of being in a wheelchair. Like when the line of people trying to get in to see Hillary Clinton give a speech extended for miles, and there was no way that everybody was going to get into that auditorium. So you rolled up to the front of the line and asked the security detail if there was any way that you could get in to see her. Well, of course, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. And they ushered you and Sharon straight into the front row. Fourth, we appreciate your amazing generosity. You gave money to someone who tried to swindle you at a gas station late one night, not because you fell for the cruise, but because, as you said, well, it's Christmas time after all. And you faithfully provided support for my mission work for years and wrote me a card each time you sent a contribution. After our recent visit, you sent me back to Cambodia with a huge tub of deluxe nuts and bags of booty gums. Next, your playfulness. You were an irreverent, quirky kid who never quite warmed up to rules and conventions, of which there were many at our very beloved DeWant School. And the nicknames, oh, the nicknames: Goose, Melvin, Papaya, Billy. And by the way, it was only recently that you confessed that I had been nicknamed after the bulldog of DeWant. All this time, I thought the nickname you gave me was a silly derivation of my given name, Jill. Along with playfulness, we remember your active acceptance of differences and seeking out people who are marginalized and not popular kids. One friend remembered, no matter who or how I was, and I could be very socially awkward at times, Merle always had simply made up her mind that she loved me and that nothing was ever going to change that. And another shared, you cared deeply about everyone, and you didn't care if it was popular, if we were popular or on the fringe, or a guy or a girl, older or younger, we were all important to you. Also, we appreciate your fierce loyalty to family and friends, which is clearly demonstrated by the great cloud of witnesses around you now. You recently told me a story of being with your sister during the delivery and birth of her son, a difficult, long, and exhausting process where you were there, you did not leave. And though you differed politically with Kathy, you were very able to engage in real conversation with him because love was the foundation of your time together. And who can forget your love for animals? Said one friend, I loved her wisecracking, irrelevant humor, and her care for all people and animals, even if it meant that she showed up in our dorm room with a frog, or monkey, turtles, or some other animals. Another reminisced, I have only seen a caring and compassionate person who loves all of God's creatures. To this day, I can't kill a bug, a spider, a worm, or a rodent, because it must be rescued and gently placed outside in a safe place. Merlin taught me about this special caring act of kindness. And of course, the mountain of stuffed animals, as well as the literally 2-ton gorilla ornament that you purchased, should probably be named of all the critters in your life. Merle, we also remember your deep spirituality and solid faith. Merle, your whole life you grappled with, explored, doubted, and wondered about our Christian beliefs. But through all of this, your faith has grown deep roots, flowering in words of wisdom, quietly spoken, but with conviction. Just a couple days before your passing, you wrote to me of your conversation with another friend. You said, certainly we have radical differences on the Bible, but when you get to the core of our beliefs, we see God's grace and love and power of us to choose to return his loving grace, recognizing Jesus as his Son, who came to save us, and us being everyone. We remember your resilience. Several people have said in gratitude, I thank you for being an inspiration and your determination to plow through obstacles in life with resilience and always with a positive attitude. And finally, we remember your tenacity. You are a fighter. Merle, against all odds, you have been with us 6 decades. We nearly lost you several times on the journey to various illnesses and issues that you each time surmounted with dignity, with humor, and with graciousness, and with kind words for all the medical staff who provided care. Your response has challenged all of us to be better people. But Merle, I feel that I cannot finish this letter without mentioning the accident, as I guess many of us call it now. 11th of April, 1987. This was, from my perspective, a refining moment for you, rather than a defining moment. There are many responses to choose from, and you, Merle, chose life, you chose laughter, and you chose grace. You were always so much bigger and wiser and funnier than your wheelchair. In 1990, 3 years after that event, I visited you again, this time in St. Louis. As my train pulled out of the station, I wrote the following words to you. You look so good, Merle, and I'm really proud of all the things that you're doing. I didn't know what to expect, certainly a different person than I had seen 4 years ago. But how different? I was apprehensive. Can I tell you what I saw? I saw a beautiful young woman with a ready smile. That old spark of mischief glowed a little bit brighter even. Your keen wit hadn't dimmed, your eager mind still raced to know and to learn. A person with much more courage than I will ever have. I saw an incredibly sensitive and gentle person who cares a great deal about others, who has a lot to share and to teach others about the power of love. You are more serious now, but it seems to have increased rather than diminished your capability for laughter and fun. You are more real and more you than I remember from earlier days. You reminded me of the importance of friends and people. Thank you for who you are and for how you challenge me to be better and kinder and more accepting of imperfection and more ardent for justice. Sharon, can I say a few words to you? You have been the love of Merle's life for 30 years. 30 awesome years. What a testament to faithfulness, to hope, and to love. Your road has not been an easy one, though you would be the first one to say that it was impossibly better because Merle was your partner. Sharon, we ache for you in this moment of agonizing and tremendous silence. Though we also share your relief that Merle's pain is no more. Her breathing is easy, her eyes are open and bright, and that she finally walks and moves freely. Though it is so hard to let you go, Merle, we know that you are in the Father's hands, and that the Father is whispering your name over and over again as he welcomes you home. In my own country, conversations with Merle the few weeks before she passed, she was always very quick to focus on the faithfulness of God throughout her life. So I thank you, Billy, or Jill, or Kia, for your heartfelt tribute that reminds us that God's kindness and love are as vast as the heavens, and that God's faithfulness is higher than the skies. And thank you, dear Father, for welcoming our Merle to your home.